Praise be Jesus Christ. I just finished reading Bishop Barron's Letter to a Suffering Church. A bishop speaks on the sexual abuse crisis. The little book, it's available for $1. It's an excellent read. I would say any Catholic who is concerned about the institution of the Catholic Church, you got to read this thing. He packs a lot in this little book. When Brandon was speaking about it on the Word on Fire show, he says, oh, it's a little book. You can read it in one sitting. And when I heard this, the inferiority complex in me kicked in, and I was thinking, yeah, right, it'll probably take me 3 weeks to read it. So when I got the book, I put a pot of coffee on, grabbed some dark chocolate, and I said, I'm gonna read this in one sitting to show them I can do that too. I put my timer on. It took me 1 hour and 35 minutes to read through the book. It's filled with Bishop Barron's genius, his tactful way to navigate something very delicate, especially him as a bishop, in a way that he says it the way it is, in a way that probably won't get him into any trouble. I could probably learn from him. Anyways, there's just so much. At the end, his ode to the saints is worth the price of admission. You got to read this book, if at least to read about the saints. He also talks about the worst popes in the history of the church and gives a little detail, remarkable stuff. Talks about Sodom and Gomorrah on no uncertain terms. Anyways, I want to read to you maybe what I think might be the most significant point he makes. He says, just as bishop after bishop around the country quietly reshuffled abusive clergy from parish to parish, so it seems numerous bishops, archbishops, and cardinals, both in this country and in the Vatican, knew all about McCarrick's outrageous behavior and did nothing in response to it. Or rather worse, they continued to advance him up the ecclesiastical ladder, from auxiliary bishop to bishop of a diocese to archbishop, and finally to cardinal, even after he resigned from his post in Washington, D.C., immediately upon turning 75, apparently at the urging of Pope Benedict XVI. McCarrick continued to be a roving ambassador for the church and a kingmaker in the American hierarchy. Again, while everyone knew about this disturbing and abusive tendencies, the average Catholic in America could certainly be forgiven for thinking that something like a conspiracy of silence and a deep corruption obtained within the institutional life of the church. And he goes on to say later in the book, I believe that another essential move, if the church is serious about preventing McCarrick-like situations going forward, is to launch a formal investigation, both on this side of the Atlantic, and in Rome, to determine how someone like Theodore McCarrick, whose serious misbehavior was well known, could possibly have risen so high in the government of the church. Viva Christore.